Well, it is another hot day, y'all. But it's sad because I just can't be out here very long. So it keeps me from being out here doing all the things that I love outside. But I'm in the mood for baking today. So let's go in and bake a German chocolate cake. I'm just piddling around the house. And it seems like piddling, I get a lot done. It's so hot outside that I can't even think about going out there and doing anything. It's supposed to go up to 98 today, which means the heat index will be over 100. And if I go out, it's going to be right before dark, and it won't be very long. But I've gotten a lot done. And let's see, I've steam cleaned my floors and just done all the little bitty stuff, and I've got several loads of clothes washed and put up. And right now I'm washing my bed clothes and my bed sheets and comforters, and I'm even washing some new curtains that I got, some shams that I'm going to change out that I got at a flea market. So I'm just piddling. But with this piddling, I'm thinking about making a cake. In fact, I got most of my ingredients out here. Me and Danny absolutely love German chocolate cake. And there's even a recipe that I've done a few times. I don't know that I've done a video on it. I don't think I have, and I don't know why, because it is absolutely delicious. But it's a German chocolate pie, and I need to do that. But the German chocolate cake is just one of our favorites. And whether if you make it with store-bought cake mix and the frosting, I still love it. But one of my favorites, of course, is the homemade. And the recipe is in my new cookbook. And we are still working on getting them orders out. We've been blessed with so many orders that, I told y'all at the beginning that it would take probably 4 to 6 weeks for some of y'all to get your books. Now, I'm hoping it ain't that long, because that's how many orders we've got. And I do have help getting them orders out, but it's just going to take a while, so thank y'all very much. But the recipe is in here in my new book, page 48, German chocolate cake, and also a wonderful key lime pie recipe. Some of y'all have already gotten my new cookbook, and y'all have done looked through it and said y'all really enjoying it, so I'm so happy. But we're going to make a homemade German chocolate cake with the coconut pecan ice, frosting on it. I absolutely love this stuff, and so does Danny. And a lot of my kids and grandkids do too. So I've got my oven heating, and that was one of the things I didn't want to do, but for this cake I'm going to do it. I don't have my little toaster oven in here right now. I would bake that cake in there. But 350, and I'm going to use two 9-inch cake pans. That's what I'm using. You can use if you want to just do a 9 by 13, you can do that too. But right now I need to find my beaters to my mixer, my hand mixer, because I need to beat, this is 6 egg whites. I like to keep my camera going when I'm walking away from the camera, because so many of y'all like to look around my kitchen and stuff to see what you can see. So that's always kind of fun. Ooh, I need to clean my hand mixer. I use this thing so much, it's looking pretty bad. But you just want to mix these egg whites just by themselves to just a soft peak. What we got here is a half a cup of boiling. I boiled this water. It's very, very hot. And you want a whole bar of your German chocolate bar, like you get in the baking section. And you just want to put it in here, and you want it to melt. Now, I was short about an ounce, so I'm adding a little bit of my semi-sweet, I think it is. I always keep my chocolate baking bars on hand because you never know when you want to whip up German chocolate cake or some brownies or whatever. But just stick it in there in that boiling water and let that melt. Focus on it a little bit. Just keep stirring it and it'll eventually melt for you. So that's half a cup of boiling water and a whole bar of your German chocolate baking bar. Okay, so we got our egg whites beat. We've got our chocolate over here melting in the hot water. And of course, you want this to cool down too before you add it to your other ingredients. So while that's cooling and melting and cooling, we'll be mixing everything else up. Now this recipe calls for cake flour, and a lot of people don't keep cake flour. In fact, I make my own. My grandmother, you never seen a cake mix in her pantry, never, because she made everything, all of her cakes homemade. But the one thing she did keep was cake flour, and it was always Swan cake flour. She always had a big box of it, but you can make your own. It's really simple. You just take your all-purpose flour, and to 1 cup of all-purpose flour, you're going to take out 2 tablespoons of the flour. And then you're going to take 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and add that to your 1 cup minus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. You're going to add that cornstarch to that. Now the best thing to do is to take that and sift it together, that cornstarch and that all-purpose flour. Sift it, not just twice, but 3 or 4 or 5 times. And that's what I've done, my little sifter here. Now what I did forget to do is, usually when I'm doing that, because this cake calls for a teaspoon of baking soda, I need to go ahead and put that in with my flour. Now this is not for making cake flour. I will put that right up here or right up here. 1 cup of all-purpose flour minus 2 tablespoons that you take out of the flour, and then you add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and sift that together, and that gives you cake flour. All-purpose flour has a lot of protein in it, which gives you a lot of gluten, and you don't want that in a cake because it'll make it tough. So when you take the 2 tablespoons out of that 1 cup, and then you add the 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, the cornstarch is what will slow down that protein and give you a more tender cake. So anyways, never think that you don't have cake flour, because you can make it. So I'm going to go ahead and put, it's 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to go ahead, because with the rest of my flour that I sifted, I'm going to go ahead and sift my baking soda in here with it too. Even if I'm using cake flour, my grandmother always sifted. Don't matter if it was just all-purpose flour she was making biscuits, or especially cake. When she was using her cake flour, she still sifted it. And that just helps to give you a more tender crust, not crust, but crumb in your cake. So we've got 2½ cups of cake flour and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And let's see, I need some salt. I need a ½ teaspoon of salt. And I could have sifted that together with it too. So what I'm going to do now is I've got 2 sticks of butter. And of course you always want to take that softened butter, and that's what you're going to mix with your sugar. And I've got 2 whole cups of sugar here. So what I want to do is this. Now you could do this with your hand mixer. I'm just going to do it by hand. I don't want to turn my mixer back on right now. Won't take but just a minute. Because my butter was good at room temperature. I mean, it couldn't help but get soft in this kind of weather. I do have air conditioning. You know, me and Danny grew up without air conditioning, and most of our married life we didn't have air conditioning. In fact, we didn't even get even a window unit till my youngest, my fourth child was born, and he was born around the end of May. And we were living in a mobile home, and I told Danny, I said, we've got to at least get a window unit in here for this baby. So that was the first time we had air. I could handle it a lot better back then, that's for sure. Okay, so I've got my butter, my 2 sticks of butter, my 2 cups of sugar. I've got them all creamed together. So now I've got 4 egg yolks. Beautiful egg yolks. So I used the 4 egg whites from these egg yolks right here that I beat. Just gonna stir this. Such a pretty color. You know, our hens, they've been a little bit distressed in this heat, y'all, just like we would, and we do the best we can to keep them, you know, cold water to them, and they're in the shade, and you know, so they're okay, but they're not laying as much right now because they're just a little bit distressed with the heat. But we're still getting eggs, just not as many. But as soon as it cools off a little bit, they'll go back. I mean, I can't blame them. Okay, there's our 4 egg yolks beaten with the butter and sugar. Let's see. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. I could have got a bigger bowl, but I just hate messing up that many bowls. So I'm using my vanilla paste that I bought from Sam's Club a while back. I've showed y'all that in other videos. We did make some homemade vanilla, but you know, that's got to sit a while, so I ain't going to get into that for a while. But I really do like this Members Mark vanilla paste. It's got a lot of vanilla beans in it, or vanilla seeds in it, and they're really, really, it's just a really good vanilla paste. So I'm going to mix up the vanilla in here with the sugar and butter. And I'm going to see if this is cooled off. Yeah, it's plenty cool. You just got to make sure it's cooled, that chocolate's cooled down so it don't scramble your eggs. So I'm going to add my melted chocolate to this. When you're making a homemade German chocolate cake, a lot of times I have just made a fudge cake and then made the German chocolate topping, you know, frosting to go on, and it's good. So if you don't have the German chocolate bar in your pantry, you know, don't go buy it. Just make you a chocolate fudge cake. It'll still be good. But I wanted to do this recipe and make a true German chocolate cake. So I just happened to have that one, well, partial bar in there. I did have to substitute a little bit of the semi-sweet, but that's okay. So I'm just mixing all that together. I hope y'all are making it through this heat. I hope y'all being very, very careful. I want to wish my friend from Kentucky, Laura Painter, a happy birthday. I'm making this cake for you And me and Danny will probably eat it up before we get it to you. But just think, this cake is for you, even though you live so far away. But I'll think about you while I'm eating it, though. Okay. So we added the chocolate vanilla, sift together the salt, soda, and flour. Okay. So now, I'll make sure I read this right. Sift together salt and flour. Add alternately with butter, milk, mix till smooth. Okay. So I got my buttermilk over here. There's my egg whites. This is my flour, salt, and baking soda. So I'm going to add this mixture, some of it. Then we're going to add some of our buttermilk, which is 2 cups. No, it's 1 cup of buttermilk. Just stir it a little bit. Or use a hand mixer, whichever you want to do. Then add some more of the chocolate mixture. Some more of the buttermilk. Oh, this smells so good. If you wanted to do a bundt cake out of it, you could do that too. So I'm going to put the rest of my chocolate mixture, which is the egg, sugar, butter, vanilla. Y'all, I got up this morning and I put on my biggest stretchy shorts. I'm going to put the rest of the buttermilk in there. My biggest t-shirt, because I knew I was going to be cleaning and mopping and, you know, getting up and down. And when I'm doing all that and doing that kind of housework, I like to be very comfortable. I'm not sure if I even brushed my hair this morning, to tell you the truth. So you're getting Miss Lori just everyday life here. So I'm going to mix this up really good. And it's going to be a little bit lumpy, but don't be afraid of that. Then we're going to fold our egg whites in. Hang on just a minute. Now, if you don't have pecans, I have used a mixture of pecans and walnuts, and I've also made the topping with walnuts and no pecans because I either couldn't afford the pecans or I just didn't have them. And Miss Lori's not one just to run to the store and get stuff. I use what I've got, or I just don't make it until I make my monthly haul to the store or order it or whatever. Okay, there is our mixture. Now we're going to be folding in the egg whites. Yeah, I don't know why I done 2 9-inch cake pans, because this takes 3. So I had to get one more. I got to looking at this and I thought, no, this is a 3 9-inch cake pan cake here, not a 2. So I'm just folding the egg whites in there. Get my bigger spatula here. And that cake, that batter's real white. Real white and fluffy. So, there we go. I'm going to get one more cake pan. Okay. Wipe some of this mess off. Like I said, my oven's heated to 350. I need to look at it. Sometimes this little oven's just not exactly accurate, y'all, so sometimes I have to turn it down a little bit. So, let's see. I've got parchment paper on the bottom. So you just want to even out your cakes. Sorry, y'all. I know that was loud. Yeah, I have a really good recipe for German chocolate pie that y'all would absolutely love, and some of y'all may have already made them. They're so good. And I think my favorite part of this cake is the frosting. I think I could just eat it by the spoonfuls. I don't really think there's a cake that I don't like. That's my problem. But I don't make a lot of cakes anymore just for me and Mr. Brown to sit around and eat. It's usually if we're going to a potluck, or, you know, the kids are all coming for lunch, or, you know, just something like that. So, I do have some recipes, and I did do a recipe cooking for two with a, I think it was a white cake, cooking for two. I do have several dessert recipes cooking for two. I'm going to have to steal out this one. I have cookie recipes, pie recipes for cooking for two that I will be doing. I just kind of, you know, I go back and forth with my recipes because some people want full recipes, and some people want cooking for two, and some people want even keto recipes, gluten-free. I don't do gluten-free. Danny and I are not gluten-free, so I don't have a lot of those recipes. My youngest daughter does. In fact, I would love to get her to do a video, a cooking video, and I'm just about talked her into it. She makes some wonderful, really healthy meals, and I want her to do one for y'all. Okay. I'm going to put these in here, and I can only put two, so I'll have to put this other one in when these are done. I'm going to put this on 20 minutes, and then I'll check it here in a little bit. I'm going to get my stuff together for the topping, and we'll get going on this German chocolate cake. Okay, our cakes are out of the oven and they're cooling. So let's get started on our frosting. Does anybody else love vintage cake covers, pans, whatever they're called? I do. I don't even have any of, just regular plastic. I don't even have them anymore. I love these. Some of the really vintage ones are pretty expensive when you go to flea markets or antique stores. I got this one at a pretty good price, and I absolutely love it. And I'll tell you one thing, it's big enough for a regular cake. Some cake containers, they're just not big enough. But this one is, and I love it. I'd rather have a vintage one than any brand new one. Okay, let's make our frosting for a German chocolate cake. And I think I'm going to use that one. Hang on a minute. Seems like I keep telling y'all that. Hang on a minute. I'll get it together here. Maybe. So you need 2 sticks of butter. This recipe has a lot of butter and a lot of egg yolks and a lot of sugar. But you're not eating the whole cake. At least I hope you don't. So, you're not getting all that butter and all that sugar all at once. Besides, we only eat this stuff in moderation. We don't do this all the time. So, 2 sticks of butter. I've got 2 cups of evaporated milk. 2 cups of sugar. And you need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And a while ago I said Member's Mark. I don't know why I said that, except that I'm losing my mind. It's Magnolia Star from Sam's Club. Is vanilla bean paste made with Madagascar bourbon vanilla beans. It's 8 full ounces. I don't remember how much it was, but I know it wasn't real expensive or I wouldn't have bought it. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons. Now we're just going to bring this up to a slight boil. Let that butter melt. And we're just going to continue to stir this. But before it gets hot, I'm going to put my 6 egg yolks in here, y'all. 6 egg yolks. Make sure y'all put that in there before your mixture gets hot. Now, them 6 egg whites, don't throw them away. You can make you an egg white omelet out of it, or you can put it in the freezer. Use it next time that you're making maybe a sponge cake or something like that. So don't waste your egg whites. So altogether, this recipe had 10 egg yolks. Because there was 4 egg yolks in the cake, and then you got 6 in your frosting. So this is on about a medium-low heat. The butter is still trying to melt. And it'll come to a slight boil. And then I'll let it do that till it starts to thicken up before we add our coconut and our pecans. Okay, it's starting to thicken up, but it's just not quite there yet. And it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes. Okay, it has started to thicken up, so I turned the heat off of it. Now I'm going to add my, this is 2 2/3 cup of coconut, sweetened coconut. And then I've got 2 cups of chopped pecans. Now what you want to do with this is you're going to do just like if you're making a pot of fudge. You're going to stir this and you're going to beat it and you're going to stir it for a while till it starts to really thicken up and kind of lose its shine a little bit. And then you're going to want to let it cool down before you even frost your cakes with it. It's my timer. It took about 6 minutes to get thickened up the first time. But you just got to, like you're making pralines or something, you just got to really whip it up pretty good for a little while till it really starts to thicken up really good too. If Danny was here, he'd be doing this for me. Danny's with his mama. This is his night to be with his mama. Okay, I'm still beating on this just like I said, just like if I was making homemade pralines. You can see how it's starting to thicken up, but you just got to keep beating on this. I know it seems like a lot of arm work, but it's well worth it. And it will get to the right consistency of, you know, a spreadable consistency. Sometimes you have to let it cool down a little bit and then come back and beat on it again. It smells so good. Okay, now our frosting has really thickened up. Now, if you find that even after it cools, that it's still not thick, you know, at the consistency of really being able to spread good, stick it in the refrigerator for a little bit. It'll get thickened, you know, thickened up and really be right where you want it. And it makes quite a bit. Now, when I do mine, especially in the 3 layers, I just do the filling in the middle and just kind of let it go over the sides a little bit. Now, if you've never made a homemade German chocolate cake and you absolutely love them, you'll love this recipe. It is really easy. Simple ingredients. And if you find that you have a little bit of the filling left over, I just put it in a container and you can even freeze it. And maybe next time just make you a small cake. You'll have a little bit of the frosting already made up. And I'll tell you something else. Warm this stuff up a little bit and put it over some ice cream. Ooh, you talk about good. Delicious. But I do like quite a bit of this topping. The cakes turned out really good, really light, spongy like because of the egg whites. And like I said, I just put the filling in, then I just let it kind of fall over the sides. And you see, this will make a very, very nice birthday cake for somebody that loves German chocolate cake. In fact, I think I've got some vanilla ice cream out in the freezer, some Bluebell. Maybe what we have with our Sunday lunch tomorrow after church is a big old piece of German chocolate cake Maybe somebody will come over and share some with us. Be great with a cup of coffee. And it does look like I'm going to have some left. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in a jar. Put it in the refrigerator or in the freezer. And sometime when we're going to just be eating maybe some homemade vanilla ice cream or just some, you know, ice cream, Bluebell, I can heat this up a little bit or just, you know, and pour it over that ice cream, and it is so good. But I feel like I've got plenty on my cake. If you want to, you can kindly go around the edge and make it a little bit prettier. I kind of like it looking kind of rustic looking here. But that's quite a bit of cake right there. Now if you want to, you can leave this out for a day or so. If it doesn't get eaten up too quick, you can also put this in the refrigerator and just bring it out when you're ready to, before you're ready to serve it or something. So I'm making a big mess. But anyways, it's a very, very, very delicious German chocolate cake. If you've never ate German chocolate cake, but you love coconut and you love pecans, you will love this cake. It's not the prettiest cake on the block, but I guarantee you it's one of the best you'll ever eat. Recipe is delicious. Now, if I was taking this somewhere like potluck, I would probably take some, if I had them, I'd take some whole pecans. I might dress up around the edge a little bit or something like that. But, you know, nuts are very expensive. So you just, you know, you gotta be careful with it. But there you go. That is our German chocolate cake. Now, I don't know if I should wait for Mr. Brown to get home before I cut into it. What do y'all think? Should I be that nice and just wait on him? Well, I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you make one of these German chocolate cakes. This thing's heavy, y'all, but doesn't that look good? I just can't wait to get a big old piece of it, but I am going to wait for Danny. I will do that. So, y'all make your cake. It's in my new cookbook, or I'll have the recipe down in my information box below the video. You just click on more. My information comes down, and so does my recipes. So, y'all try it. You'll love it. Y'all have a beautiful, blessed Sunday. Going into the next week, we got a whole new week ahead of us. School's been going on for 2 weeks now. The kids are just settling in. Some, I don't know, some schools may just be starting this week. I don't know, in different states. But I know some of them little kids has had some hot bus rides home, that's for sure. So let's always pray for our children and the teachers and everybody that takes care of our children, and the bus drivers that try to get them home safely. Let's all always keep them in our prayers. So goodbye, and we'll see y'all in a few days. God bless everybody. Bye-bye for now.